It is now a great pleasure to welcome an ISA official who is outstanding among the persons who supported this meeting, Professor Margaret Abraham, the current president of the International Sociological Association. We are very happy to have you with us today. May I ask you to give your official ISA presidential address?
Before I start, let me say, Patricia, that's good about menus. I like the idea that we think about food. It's important. Thank you, Professor Zartler. Distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends, on behalf of the International Sociological Association, it is my distinct pleasure to welcome you to the third ISA Forum of Sociology in Vienna. The ISA Forum is designed as a mechanism for the research committees, thematic and working groups to hold their interim meetings between the ISA congresses. The strength of this forum owes much to the stellar role played by the participating ISA research committees, the thematic and working groups in developing a well-crafted scientific program. Credit also goes to ISA Vice President for Research and the Forum President Marcus Schulz and the ISA Research Coordinating Committee. Our very special thanks to Rudolf Richter, Chair of the Local Organizing Committee, together with Brigitte Ollenbacher, Vice Chair of the LOC, and Ida Seljeskog, and yes, I pronounced that correctly, and the members of the LOC for their meticulous planning and preparation. As always, the ISA Secretariat team in Madrid, led by ISA Executive Secretary Isabella Barlinska, has been crucial in all stages of the preparation of this forum. Last but not least, to the distinguished panel, but my thanks and deep appreciation to Rector Heinz Engel, Dean Ulrike Feld, and the University of Vienna for providing such a beautiful and wonderful venue. To all the supporters and all the people who work backstage, thank you, and to the sponsors, thank you for making this major event possible. The third ISA Forum in Vienna, with its theme, The Futures We Want, Global Sociology and the Struggles for a Better World, is particularly timely, given the current state of our world and the challenges, competing assumptions, frustrations, and aspirations about futures by individuals, communities, institutions, states, and movements. The third ISA Forum is happening at a time when there is considerable turmoil, conflict, and humanitarian disaster across the world. Within the space of 6 days, between June 27th and July 3rd, there have been 3 deadly attacks in Istanbul, in Dhaka, and in Baghdad, underlining terror's global presence. Additionally, there is state-sponsored terrorism to contend with. It is also particularly pertinent that this forum is being held in Vienna, Austria, at a time when the European Union has been undergoing its own major political crisis, resulted in fragmented responses to the migrant, refugee, and global humanitarian crisis. In the past year, we have witnessed vast numbers of people forced to leave their homes due to war, poverty, conflict, and destruction. According to the UNHCR, and I quote, "War and persecution have driven more people from their homes than at any time since records began, with over 65 million men, women, and children now displaced worldwide," end quote. The current number of displaced people globally is the highest since the aftermath of World War II. In the last year, we have witnessed the dislocation of individuals, families, and children. The power of governments in Europe to shut borders, while people bravely make life-threatening journeys across land and sea in search of safety and the possibility of a better future. We have also witnessed private individuals, informal groups and organizations at the local, national, and transnational levels bravely helping and mobilizing for social justice and the well-being of all. Over the past decades, we have been seeing a growing anti-immigrant backlash. We see the rapid growing clout of right-wing groups, closing of borders, and an increased overt othering. There is the ongoing build-up of fear of foreigners as untrustworthy, scapegoating those displaced as appropriators of the limited resources. A few weeks ago, Britain voted to leave the European Union with subsequent reactions and repercussions of Brexit for the UK, EU, and the world. Significantly, in the US, a country built on immigration, the Republican presidential candidate has repeatedly engaged in immigrant bashing, even called for a total ban of Muslims from entering the United States. In Austria, across Europe, United States, in Asia, including India, and in many parts of the world, we are witnessing the rise of right-wing parties with their incendiary rhetoric, intensifying nationalism that is increasingly anti-immigrant and anti-Muslim, fragmenting the fabric of society. We see the rise of xenophobia, Islamophobia, and the racist discourses as right-wing politicians promote the politics of exclusion, tapping into the fears and frustrations of segments of society by strategically scapegoating immigrants and refugees as stymieing the aspirations and opportunities of citizens for a better future. Yet, at the other end of the spectrum, there are many, and increasingly so, voices of those who contend that the futures we want entail seeking solutions that enable a shared humanity that transcends boundaries, that recognizes that every human being matters and has the right to equality and fundamental liberties, to security and dignity. In these troubled times, what can the ISA, the International Sociological Association, do to contribute to the debates and dialogues on the futures we want, on global sociology and the struggles for a better world? In the context of the ISA, we will do well to recall the genesis of the organization and its raison d'etre. In documenting the history of the International Sociological Association from 1948 to 1997, author Jennifer Platt, former Vice President of Publications, explains that ISA, founded in 1949 against the backdrop of the post-World War II, was part of a UNESCO initiative, and I quote, to promote research in the fields crucial to the establishment of a peaceful world order. The ISA mandate was not just to purely serve intellectual and cultural functions, but importantly, for promoting democracy and serving broad social purposes. Interestingly, at the meeting in 1948, to discuss the establishment of the ISA, the first heading of the Statement of Functions was, and I quote, "Promotion of sociology as science and action. The encouragement in all countries of sociological study, teaching, and research, with emphasis upon the scientific character and the practical contribution of sociology, I end quote. Clearly, the founders envisaged a future in which the organization would grapple with the problems of our world and be proactive in pointing new directions for progressive change. It is my hope and expectation that the sociological knowledge and insights from the third ISA Forum will help us delve into the complexities and challenges of our world and offer insights into the futures we want. From its inception, the ISA has been predicated on the belief that sociology matters and that sociologists can play a transformational role in creating a just society. As mentioned earlier, a primary mission of the ISA is to actively address important issues of our human social world and thereby contribute to true democracy and a better, just society. As C. Wright Mills points out, and I quote, "It is by means of the sociological imagination that men," and if he were here today, would say humans or women, would hope to grasp what is going on in the world and to understand what is happening in themselves as minute points of the intersections of biography and history within society. Given that sociologists' deep understanding of society, knowledge of theoretical and conceptual frameworks, and a commitment to methodological rigor, we are eminently suited for the task of engaging with the public on matters that affect people's lives and futures. It is therefore appropriate that the sociological perspective be available to civil society when it can actually make the difference in terms of meaningful action, influence policy, and even be the game changer in our search for a more just world and envisioning the futures we want. Today, amidst the political and social upheavals of our time, sociological silence is tantamount to being indifferent and, if I may say, even complicit in injustice. There can be little doubt that public opinion, the main mineral resource influencing public policy and governmental action in most democratic societies, is to a large extent molded by the media and essentially by social media, television, newspapers in all parts of the world, be it the global north or south. These sources of mass information and communication, which also sadly are used as propaganda tools, feature debates, analysis, comments on the leading issues and flashpoints confronting the world. Significantly, through these tools, the layperson is exposed to the opinions, critiques, and views of politicians, policy makers, economists, political scientists, et al. On varied topics of contemporary relevance that impact the future. Ironically, sociologists who actually engage in a comprehensive understanding of our human world, who analyze institutions, structures, group behaviors, actions, and happenings from the standpoint of their consequences for civil societies, who offer solutions to a range of critical concerns, are rarely featured as experts in these vital public arenas. While there may be some degree of deliberate political exclusion or receptivity due to the perception that sociologists tend to hold more radical views, it also behooves us as sociologists to recognize that sociology does not become less serious or insightful for being more accessible. After all, if our job is to study socially relevant matters, we surely need to share our analysis with society's main stakeholders, the public. The past ISA president, Michael Burawai, devoted much of his time to promoting the importance of public sociology. While some debate the necessity or the relevance of the prefix public, especially in parts of the world where sociology has always had a public face, I believe it is becoming increasingly clear that sociological engagement and intervention is necessary at all levels of our society. Feminists and social justice scholars have long engaged with publics for transformative change. If we sociologists as a global community effectively spread and share our scientific knowledge with the broader society of which we are a part, then together we can frame the futures we want. We have an intellectual, moral, and social responsibility as sociologists to generate and share knowledge and engage in collective action in building a better world. To do this, however, we will need to develop a contextual global sociology and collaborate with other disciplines in countering dangerous discourses that foment violence, xenophobia, Islamophobia, racism, and the spectrum of inequalities and social exclusions across the world. It is toward this goal of increasing the public visibility, accessibility, and effectiveness of sociology and sociological knowledge on the global scene and in the local scene that I have put together as my special presidential project, the global mapping of sociologists for a contextual global sociology. To be truly effective, the ISA needs to knit together sociologists across the world in a joint endeavor of mutual cooperation and collaboration. As part of my presidential priorities, ISA has initiated a project that aims to create the first comprehensive global mapping of sociologists for social inclusion and as a resource to identify, connect, and enable global collaborations. Today, as we partake in this forum, we acknowledge that there are many sociologists who are unable to participate here for a spectrum of reasons. The global mapping of sociologists for social inclusion, or GMSSI, is intended to identify, connect, and enable global collaborations in sociology, and particularly support sociologists who enable multiple barriers, economic and political, which impede their participation in global exchanges. Through GMSSI, we hope to partially counter existing knowledge hierarchies of knowledge production in all our disciplines and associations, and to strengthen dialogue and debate among sociologists across the world. An extremely important part is to facilitate our mission of increasing the visibility of sociologists by compiling a database of sociologists across the world with their areas of expertise that can then help us in strengthening connections and collaborations, or be an important resource for sustained interaction with the media on a range of issues. I see this as a critical project that is required of the 21st century global community, our networks, where sociologists can play a pivotal role in global, transnational, and local contexts and exchanges. This will be the first such project of the scope and format that brings us together, sociologists, in one integrated database. We will be able to strengthen the use of social media as sociologists to draw attention to complex contexts and concerns of our world. We have an undeniable responsibility to disseminate ISA's work on contemporary social issues to the wider world, to translate specialized sociological knowledge in ways that the broader publics can relate to and to be inspired by. We will be reaching out to sociologists to participate in GMSSI so that we can truly build a connected global community of sociologists who can help address the deeply problematic issues of our time and collaboratively work towards envisioning the futures we want. I would like to take this opportunity to encourage you all to participate in this project, and ISA will be posting more on this soon. For the next 4 days, this ISA forum, with its emphasis on the futures provides a vital platform for us as sociologists to interrogate, debate, and dialogue on what futures we want, as well as build and strengthen a global sociology that can meet the ongoing challenges, contextualize and connect, envision and engage in the struggles for a better world. I am indeed glad that the theme of this forum reflects optimism that we can work together for creating a better future. Thank you and welcome once again.
Thank you very much, Margaret Abraham.